Today our topic is the art of saying no, a Stoic perspective. Saying no is one of the hardest things for many people. We often feel pressured to say yes to everything to help others, to take on more work, to attend events, or to meet expectations. But saying yes to everything can lead to stress, exhaustion, and losing control of our own lives. The Stoics, ancient philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, taught us that saying no is not just a skill but an art. It is about understanding what is within our control and what is not, and focusing on what truly matters. Let's explore this idea and see how Stoicism can help us master the art of saying no. First, let's think about why saying no is so difficult. Many of us fear rejection or disappointing others. We worry that if we say no, people will think less of us, or we might miss out on opportunities. But the Stoics remind us that we cannot control how others think or feel. What we can control is our own actions and decisions. When we say yes to something that does not align with our values or goals, we are giving away our power. We are letting others decide how we spend our time and energy. Saying no, on the other hand, is a way to take back control, is a way to protect our peace and focus on what truly matters. The Stoics believed in living a life of virtue, which means living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. Saying no is an act of courage and wisdom. It takes courage to stand up for yourself and set boundaries. It takes wisdom to know what is worth your time and what is not. When you say no to something, you are saying yes to yourself. You are choosing to honor your values, your goals, and your well-being. This is not selfish, it is necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly giving to others without taking care of yourself, you will burn out. Saying no allows you to recharge and show up as your best self. So how do we practice the art of saying no from a Stoic perspective? The first step is to understand what is within your control. The Stoics divided life into two categories: things we can control and things we cannot. We cannot control other people's opinions, their expectations, or their reactions. But we can control our own choices and actions. When someone asks you to do something, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? Does this align with my values and goals? If the answer is no, then it is okay to say no. You are not responsible for meeting everyone's expectations. Your responsibility is to live a virtuous life and make choices that reflect your true self. The second step is to practice self-discipline. Saying no requires discipline because it often goes against our instincts to please others. We might feel guilty or anxious when we say no, but this is where Stoic practices can help. The Stoics taught us to focus on what is truly important and let go of what is not. They called this the practice of Memento mori, which means remember you must die. This might sound dark, but it is a powerful reminder that life is short, and we should not waste it on things that do not matter. When you are tempted to say yes to something out of guilt or fear, remind yourself that your time is limited. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year? Will it bring me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, then say no with confidence. Another important Stoic principle is to focus on the present moment. Often, we say yes to things because we are worried about the future. We think if we say no, we might miss out on opportunities or damage relationships. But the Stoics remind us that worrying about the future is pointless because it is not within our control. What we can control is the present moment. When you are faced with a decision, focus on what is happening right now. Does this request align with your current priorities? Does it bring you joy or fulfillment? If not, then say no. Trust that the future will take care of itself if you stay true to your values and make wise choices in the present. Saying no also requires clarity and honesty. The Stoics believed in living with integrity, which means being honest with yourself and others. When you say no, be clear and direct. You do not need to make excuses or apologize. A simple no thank you or I cannot commit to this right now is enough. If the person respects you, they will understand. If they do not, that is not within your control. Remember, you cannot please everyone, and that is okay. What matters is that you are true to yourself and your values. It is also important to recognize that saying no is not a rejection of others. It is an affirmation of yourself. When you say no, you are not saying that the person or their request is unimportant. You are simply saying that you have other priorities at the moment. This is a healthy and necessary part of life. The Stoics taught us to live in harmony with nature, which means accepting our limits and understanding that we cannot do everything. Saying no is a way to respect your limits and live in harmony with your true self. Finally, remember that saying no gets easier with practice. At first it might feel uncomfortable or even scary, but the more you practice, the more confident you will become. Start small. Say no to small requests that do not align with your goals or values. Notice how it feels and how others react. Over time, you will see that saying no does not lead to disaster. In fact, it often leads to greater respect from others and more peace in your own life. The Stoics believed in the power of habit. By practicing the art of saying no, you are developing a habit of self-discipline and courage that will serve you well in all areas of life. In conclusion, the art of saying no is a crucial skill for living a Stoic life. It is about understanding what is within your control, focusing on what truly matters, and making choices that align with your values. Saying no is not easy, but it is necessary for your well-being and growth. It takes courage, wisdom, and self-discipline, but the rewards are worth it. When you say no, you are saying yes to yourself, to your peace, your goals, and your true self. So the next time you are faced with a request that does not align with your values, remember the Stoic principles. Pause, reflect, and say no with confidence. You owe it to yourself to live a life that is true to who you are. This is the art of saying no, a Stoic perspective.